What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am BDLM, coming with my buddy J4Y, bringing you episode number 106 of the Dota On Demand podcast. What's going on, man?
How's it going, sir? Oh,
decent.
I'm just so tanned after that trip we took. I mean, I'm just, it was just ridiculous. The amount of sun we got in New York City.
Yes. Sun. Fun. We did not run.
No, definitely not. A lot of walking, though.
There was some power walking as we were chased by angry New Yorkers. Just because they were walking very fast, and because they're New Yorkers, they're just naturally angry. But it was actually a really good time. It wasn't for ESL, unfortunately. We were a little late for that, but we made it, and we're the best. We did actually, though, find we followed in the footsteps of the great Arteezy and found the lovely body painted women of New York.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worth the bus trip for that, really.
If nothing else.
It's just great to me because everyone doesn't care. Like, everybody looks, right? Because you have to. It's like, it's rude if you don't, I feel like.
It is.
Right?
They took all that time in the morning to get ready, and you just would ignore it? That's not right. Mm-mm.
Exactly. Yeah. But it was a pretty good trip overall. I'm almost kind of glad that we didn't go for ESL because that would have been crazy, trying to facilitate all that craziness in an already very crazy place. I think it would have been a little bit too much for me personally, but
also had the best dinner I've had in so long.
Shout out to our new friend AG. She knows who she is. Oscar Shelley. She probably bumped into us on purpose. Probably. I think some might say that she gazed across the room. I seem to remember her briefly stopping at us and then continuing to look across. So if you don't know who she is, watch more Food Network, and we'll leave it at that, I guess.
Chopped specifically would be good. You should watch Chopped anyways. I don't know why you don't. This is probably a Dota 2 podcast, though. So
not tonight.
Not tonight. We're going to hold
it's the Travel Channel.
Cooking with Dota On Demand. So I'll show you how to use a microwave perfectly, 1100 watts specifically, because that's all I know how to use. So, anyways,
how to not burn the roast with J4.
I don't know if you should go down that path with me or not. Yeah, trip was great. It's good to be back though, and we have a pretty interesting episode actually. A little bit of controversy going on in the scene, and wherever drama is, Dota On Demand will soon follow up to sniff it out for you.
The TMZ of Dota.
Not quite.
I don't know that that's who we want to be.
No, I don't want it all be associated with that, frankly. That's unfortunate. People lose jobs over that stuff. Okay.
It could be worse. We could be the CNN of Dota. Boom! CNN, get wrecked.
Wow.
Sorry, fine organization.
That was harsh. We're already the Fox of Dota. We already said that. So, and that's not a great association, clearly. So, but anyways, as we continue on, we will eventually get into that in our meat and potatoes section, but let's start off with the question of the week. We asked you guys who you thought the actual MVP was of ESL 1 New York, and people seemed to side with me on this one, which was refreshing. It's about time someone gave me a little credit here, but FY being the most popular pick here of the four, with Loda and Zai tied for the runner-up, and then Black getting no love. Getting no love for it. Deserved it, but maybe he was just farming a bit too much for people's liking. I don't know.
The thing I like about Black was he was able to play out of, in my opinion, his comfort zone. Like, he plays a really weird range of heroes, right? Like, Axe, he was killing it on with his last squad. Plays Invoker in the finals. We know him, of course, for his hard farming heroes. And Loda, it was just all on him, right? Like, he just had to carry the rest of the team on his shoulders by being able to farm the most farm that anybody was able to get in a game of that length. Although he was using a hero that hasn't been out that long, so how reasonable that stat is, I guess, is up to you. But yeah, I mean, that's the great thing too about FY and his success was just that it wasn't that he had to do it by himself. It was that he was part of a machine that was working properly, and he was just able to sort of showcase his abilities. It wasn't all on his shoulders. He just contributed really well and at really good times to really help make sure that his squad succeeded. And I think that's when we think back on Alliance back when they were in the height of their glory, you would look at really just like these different players that would just pop for you, that were always solid, that always played really well. But then you'd see this game why, S4 was really good, or you'd see this game why Loda was really good. And it's really nice just to get to see FY, who I feel like shows himself to be a truly great player often. But seeing him, just to remind yourselves that he is a baller.
Supports generally don't get a lot of love, especially for like MVP titles and that kind of thing. They're the ones doing a lot of the grunt work, but aren't getting the fame and glory. And we've talked about that with the support role time and time again. But I think him and Zai really did showcase their abilities in these matches and played their hearts out. So it was really interesting, and appreciate you guys voting on the DodaOnDemand.com website. Be sure to do it again, as we have a new question for you. I think you came up with it pretty well.
Now, you'll have to, of course, wait till the end of the episode to truly get an appreciation for the question. But it's really which of the 6.82C... Or wait, no. Do you think... Hold on. This is a mistake, Jay. You let me do something tonight. I told you I was going to be off, and you gave me one job, and I'm failing at it.
Jesus.
Do you think the 6.82C updates will affect the top tier picks and bans? A lot of the changes that were made were the heroes that were picked pretty often, even in the previous patch. But then also some seemingly random nerfs and buffs to heroes that, well, I was looking at the Warlock stats because of his change / buff, and man, it's kind of
spoiler. Hold up.
That win rate though, it's not reflected where you'd like it to be at 16%. It's really not ideal. But yeah, so drop by DodaOnDemand.com and you can vote on if you think these changes are going to actually wind up shaking it up a bit more. I mean, we do have some heroes, one in particular that I want to highlight later on for being really popular, sort of because of the new changes. But yeah, stop by, let us know.
Yes, sir. But yeah, before we get to that, we kind of got a little organization, a little bit of our structure planned out tonight. So we're going to jump into just a quick roster change that I feel like if you've been watching the scene recently, especially watching Empire playing, it shouldn't come to a major shock. But Mag, their previous captain, is, we're going to say, mutually leaving the team. I'm not exactly sure the specifics, but it sounded like he's looking to take a break, and so they let him go. And he has been replaced by Yoki, which makes me crave gnocchis, which, for people who can't understand me very well, is a different word than the first word I said. It starts with a G, right?
The pasta?
Yeah, the pasta.
Yes.
Yes. The G is silent because English is awesome.
I thought they actually were replacing him with pasta and not another player. So that's where I was confused.
Damn,
so
that'd be a tasty lineup.
For me.
Oh.
Yes. Perfect.
But yeah.
I feel like Mag's Batrider, pretty awesome. I mean, this isn't really a super strong Batrider patch, I feel like. But back when Empire was killing it, right? And we actually dedicated a show to Empire and their successes. I really felt like he was an integral part of some of their success. So, it's sad that he leaves, and I haven't actually gotten to see much of Yoki, unfortunately. Yoki? Jesus.
Yoki, just Yoki, not Yoki.
The Yokes. I haven't gotten to see much of Yokes here, but I'm sure that it's a loss, especially because, that's a player that's been in that lineup for a really long time, and having to bring somebody in and try to fill those shoes is, I'm sure, difficult.
Yeah, but I mean, Navi's been handling their new adjustments pretty well, and they're obviously not near full strength yet, but they've got a lot of time until they really need to be there, and I think they've already adapted. So, and Yoki seems like a really good fit. He, I believe, he was the mid player of his previous team before he switched over. So now he's playing that offlane role. So obviously some adjustments have to be made, but look at Ice. I mean, huge mid player, made the role, switched to offlane, killing it on Timbersaw among other Invoker and other heroes. So I feel like this guy's gonna find his I was going to say sea legs. I don't know why. He's going to do
Does he
well
play a lot of
eventually.
Kunkka?
Perhaps. Although Offlane Kunkka does not seem like a strong fit to me.
He could be Tide. Could do the Tide.
Tide would make a little more sense.
Lane Slark?
No, that's just crazy. Don't even go there.
I'm just trying to find all the fish.
Those patch notes where he was forced to stay in the water to move or whatever. Those. Do you remember those joke patch notes? Oh, those were good. Anyways, so yeah, just a little quick update in case those who have not been keeping up with the Empire and their competitive scene. So, speaking of the competitive scene, Drama Llama time, everybody.
The feels. We're going to hit you in the feels.
Right, pow! Right in the kisser. And this actually does hit home for us a bit. Not because we participated in these activities, but because we know one of the people that's really involved in it. So let's just get down to brass and tacks, BLM.
Brass and tacks.
Yeah, so... you know, you don't have to interrupt me in the middle of my glory here.
You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job.
Keeping it up for us. Stop. Just stop. So I'm going to just try to muster on here. Muster on, I don't think that's the right word. Match fixing.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, really unfortunate. So apparently some investigations have been going down by different players, organizations, and there's been multiple situations where this has been happening. Now, the first one we're not going to get a heavy amount into because the second situation kind of is more something we, like I said, have more feels and emotions and thoughts about. But the first one involved the Mineski and MSI boys. And basically, they, like I said, there was match fixing going on. Teams were benefiting from the failing of a team in a match. And due to all the bets that have been going on different Dota sites and esports sites. And as a result, you know, there's disciplinary actions being taken against them. But the ones we really want to get into here involves Arrow Gaming. And Arrow Gaming, which I actually only found out in the past week, is managed by a guy named Jaren. Now, you would have to be a really long-time listener, or you've just listened to all of our episodes. But we used to work with Dota Talk, and Dota Talk is owned by Jaren.
Hey! What a coincidence! Small world!
Very small world. He's still my Facebook friend, actually, although now I'm considering dropping that one. Because I don't want to be associated. No.
It demands at least an unfollow, Jay.
I don't want to follow any more of his baby pictures he posts. I mean, it's just too much at this point. He does not have any, I don't think. But a lot of ramen pictures. Anyways, so... yeah, so we worked with Jaren on the Dota Talk. We did actually shoutcasting for some of their Gigabyte esports matches. Really early crack of dawn for us. And, you know, we had a great time with it. We even, I believe, incorporated the Dota Talk logo in some of our episodes for a little bit there. And we were considering taking it a different path, but eventually our relationship kind of thinned out with him, and we went our different ways. But we did talk with him on a pretty regular basis. He even got BM hooked up with LD for a cast. So, I mean, you know, we got some star power for...
It's not all bad.
It wasn't all bad. No, in fact, I would say there was a lot of good that came of that. You know, got to get mauled in with some good casts. We got to work with a lot of people we would have never worked with or talked with, and it was pretty cool, you know. So I'm definitely glad we got to experience all that, but at the same time... I kind of knew Jaren in the sense of what he was trying to accomplish with his website, with his... he had a lot of ambitions, and basically his goals were to grow the biggest Dota 2 website as a social hub that he possibly could. Now, as I've read a bunch of articles and interviews, people are saying he's made a whole ton of fake Facebook pages and different things that basically kind of helped... not trick, but like help manipulate. Manipulate the community and make them think that this is a general consensus and opinion. And Dota Talk had become a really large, especially in the SEA region, as a website. But now with his involvement in this Arrow Gaming scandal, unfortunately, I believe it's going to start crashing down on him. And you don't want to see that on anyone, generally. Unless they're a serial murderer.
And that's, well... and even sometimes, no. But I actually... like you mentioned, we had some experiences with Jaren, and I would say that they were all pretty positive,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we kind of just lost touch with him, and he really wanted us to do more casting and stuff. Even Dota 1, we were considering casting Dota 1 while Dota 2 was out, which, all right, hindsight 2020, but I think we did a decent job not doing that. But he was actually a really good guy for trying to give you opportunities and stuff, which had me kind of shocked that he was a part of this. Now,
right.
Like you said, he is also came across as a very ambitious person, wanted to get stuff done for his goals, and it's unfortunate that sort of thing, that he felt that he had to do that in order to accomplish his goals. Because again, like I said, he was really good with reaching out to people, getting community people involved, introducing people. And really just trying to make connections happen to see what could come out of it. So, Dota on Demand 3 years strong. I've only made 12 fake Facebooks for us.
Yeah, I think they've lost us followers, to be honest. I don't know that you've accomplished your goals very much there. But the essential breakdown is this, like I was saying, the 5 players involved in it. Actually, 2 girlfriends of the players were also involved as accomplices in the matchmaking, as well as part of the team that worked on covering it up. And the cover-up was so far said to be done mainly by Jaren and these girlfriends, and then some of the players. Although they all apparently, according to Jaren, it was unanimous that they all wanted to be. That's how they wanted this to resolve. They obviously did not have a great mastermind plan. This wasn't like Dr. Evil, figuring out how he's going to take over the world. They just kind of maybe had some kind of shady dealings and said, we're going to go for it. Because the equivalent, I believe, I've been reading, each player roughly got about $400 US from this Dota 2 lounge bet that occurred for throwing the game. And actually, it's being called the 322 incident. So those on the Dota. Oh, how you call yourself a Dota 2 player? I mean, I tell you. Anyways, 322, the famous Melk record, the one that he was able to go and their team still won, 3-22.
Shots fired.
It's fine. No, you were firing plenty of shots by my brass and tacks, so I have to try to return the favor.
Okay.
Watch me be completely wrong about what I just said, but I said it so confidently that you just believed me anyways. That's what manipulation's all about, right there, BD. See,
maybe you should school Jaren on it a little bit. And
maybe I already did. Maybe we should get him on an interview next week. Who knows? But anyways, so they're all part of the cover-up, and then eventually. He was interviewed, and they came out and admitted to it and said, we're sorry, we did it. And it appears that the players are all going to be removed from the team, and Jaren is going to step down as acting manager. So the whole organization kind of just dissipating here.
I think that this is the best possible play out for this sort of thing, because there have just been in the past, and I even mentioned one of them in one of our shows because I was reading about it and I thought it was just so ridiculous and sad and mind-boggling. Well, not mind-boggling. I mean, if it's what you spend all your time doing, you can totally see how it could affect you so deeply. But there was a player who, because his manager basically screwed over the whole team, making them believe that they were being sponsored by this company and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Turns out they weren't, and then they owed all this money to people, and it was gonna somehow fall to the players, I believe. Tries to kill himself, falls onto a 1-story building, survives the fall. Never did actually fall up to find out what happened to that kid. But anyway, point is, all these people agreed to do it.
Now, so.
What?
Playboy millionaire now, I said. So.
Probably. It's all these people decided they wanted to do it. They all fell out for it. So I'm glad that that's how it played out. I'm glad it's not team players getting screwed over because they didn't know that their manager was in cahoots and trying to make them throw matches and blah, blah, blah. You know, I guess if you're trying to find a silver lining, justice has been served.
Right. Well, it's just kind of beginning. I'm not sure how more it's going to play out, but it looks like it's definitely been revealed. Everyone's aware of it, and we're not sure the next steps, but I'm sure something with the money is going to happen and other... no, you get to keep it, but, you know, we're mad at you.
For shame.
Wag that finger at someone. Yeah, it's just matchfixing in general, and we'll get into that a little bit. Just obviously a detriment to the game. I mean, I want people that are like not even like, oh, it's just a game. Who cares if they throw it? Think about like a boxing match getting thrown with all the bets and everything on that. I mean, obviously in boxing, a lot more well known and, you know, a lot more money riding than $400 a player, thousands and millions even at times. But you know, you just have to take it in, like, for an esport that we're trying to grow and we want to become mainstream sport, you know, drop the E eventually and just make it a sport. You know what I mean? Like, you can't allow these kind of underhand dealings to happen. We don't want more corruption. You know, there was that period of, I think you were kind of touching the tip of the iceberg there, but like of these, just touching it. It's cold. But yeah, that was awkward as hell. But basically, like, oh boy, losing train of thought. Just imagining an iceberg right now. But poor Titanic, R.I.P. So the whole point is that there's been some corruption already in organizations and management, like you said. And now with players getting in on this thing, you know, we can't allow for that, essentially. There can't be any tolerance. We need to make sure it's weeded out and also shown in just an awful light, so that way people don't get encouraged to do it anymore. Because obviously, it doesn't seem like a challenge for a team to throw a game. You know, you kind of look like you're doing well, and then team fights you F up the, you know, it's not hard. We throw all the time, and that's usually by accident. So I can imagine on purpose it being even easier to do. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's obviously a bad thing and needs to really get contained. What do you think about it?
I mean, I don't know how it works with law and what have you and whatever, art history major, right? But it's just kind of like, I don't even like that betting is a part of a thing that you can do on it, to be honest with you. I find it kind of weird because it sort of obviously promotes you to do things like throw and what have you. Obviously, there's always going to be, like, you know, your illegal betting and what have you, and people are always going to wind up betting on sports. You know, everybody plays in, you know, their pool of a sport at work, you know, whether or not you're technically supposed to be able to or not. But I feel like a lot of that really is for the point of just, even if you have more words saying that you shouldn't be doing it, that's at least something. You know, it's structure saying that, hey, stop it. I mean, like you said, it's obviously negative and doesn't help promote the esport or anything. And, you know, at the end of the day, who's really hurt here? The viewers, now the players, because, you know, whatever happens to the money, it's really... and, you know, whether or not the other team was even aware that this is happening, I mean, you could go as far as to say, you know, when you had Alliance dropping out of the D2CL and they had their stats erased, like, now different organizations might have to try to figure out what they want to do, because if these matches were throws, then, you know, how do you want to count them? Do you want to count Arrow? You know, I believe, were you the one that said they were removed from...
the Summit 2 quals, yeah.
So, you know, now all of a sudden these different organizations, all these other people who you didn't want to have affected and trying to do this, you know, these players, the manager trying to make some quick money, now have to become involved. They have to try to figure out what they do, and it's just stupid. It's just stupid. Right. I mean, I'm sure people have made plenty of money throwing and, you know, betting against themselves, but you know, at the end of the day, it's clearly not working out. Even let's say you keep the $400. Now these players who, especially for this squad, because they showed themselves to be so promising, now they're, you know, if they ever get picked up again, not going to be in the same unit that was able to actually get themselves into
the international.
high profile tournaments,
Mm-hmm.
and the ability to get prize money that's so much more than $400 a person. So it just seems kind of ridiculous to me in the first place, but. People will be people, so what can you do?
And
just
also, a lot of them
sitting
are
around
young,
computers.
too. You know what I mean? Most of them are young. Most are younger than you and I. Actually, they probably all are, to be honest, me especially. But, and these kids, I mean, their leadership, who do they look up to help make a decision? It's these slightly older people that obviously don't have much life experience either. I mean, it's just like, it's not a lot of good influence, clearly. And obviously, if... someone in management's not looking out for your best interests, it could fall apart for you easily. And like I said, there was no Dr. Evil mastermind plan here. They just kind of took the money and said, "Now what?" And it got uncovered pretty quickly. So, I don't know. I feel like doing the right thing usually pays off in the end. So now that we're on our high horses here,
yes.
But I want to say, as far as Jaren as a character, I feel like he was good to us. He was very kind and generous, as you said before. And I have nothing bad against Jaren personally. I am pretty disappointed to see that he had some involvement, of course, with this, and that he even kind of helped come up with the lies and the cover up. That is obviously bad, but I feel he was saying in his interview that he was trying to do it in the best interest of the players to make sure that no further damage was done but obviously it just blew up in their face altogether. So definitely a shame, but I do wish the best for all the players as well as Jaren in the future.
Yeah, especially because like we even said to start this all off, our experiences with him, he was really good at what he was doing, Yeah. And so it's unfortunate he decided to go this route, but. I hope he has a come to Jesus moment, and honestly, I hope he's able to go back to trying to rebuild or continue to build on what he has in a reasonable manner, because, he definitely had the skills to be able to coordinate people and talk to people and help make connections to grow something strong. So, it'll be a Cinderella story to come out of it, hopefully for him. But if not, you know what? You made your bed, right?
He's just gotta hide in the grass for a little bit.
It's the internet. Change your name. Now he'll be
Jared. Jarrell.
And it'll be fine. It'll be fine. No one knows his real name.
Are you the Subway guy? Yeah, and I like Dota.
Yes, I am.
I do the Dota diet. Yeah, so anyways, that's kind of just a nice little review, guys. You can obviously find more information. I'll try to link it on the Facebook page after. There's been a lot of great Dota 2 Reddit things that have written out beautifully by a couple of the Redditors, so I'll link that up later, and you guys can get your own research, get your own opinions formed on that as well. But let's now get into the meat and potatoes. After that low note, let's get into some interesting, some juicy Dota 2 details. What happened, boss?
What happened? 6.82 happened.
See.
Boss. See. What?
6.2 did happen, but that was a little while ago, to be fair.
So anyway, yeah, some interesting changes. Some of them to heroes that have shown themselves to be super prevalent. Speaking of Loda's crazy play on the old Terrorblade, some nerfs, some changes, I'll say, coming his way. So I guess, I don't know, we can start at the top. This is actually, I think, the craziest one and the most interesting. Buyback cooldown increased from 6 to 7 minutes. Also, just to get the other sort of overarching game stuff out of the way, the AoE gold and experience were tweaked yet again, toned down just a little bit. So
for the earlier, for the less amount of players involved.
Yes.
So the numbers stayed the same for having 4 or 5. I think it was actually 3, 4, or 5. Yes, 3, 4, or 5 players, they gain the same benefit. But for having only 1 or 2, it was reduced a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm okay with this now. I think I can be happy playing Dota. Well, let's not throw words around. I think I'm fine with these changes.
There you go.
I do really like the buyback cooldown increase because this is also yet another indirect buff towards Necrolite, and I really want that guy to be played. I don't want him to be broken. I don't want him to be in every game. Don't get me wrong. I want him to just feel like a reasonable pick sometimes, and teams to be able to use him.
He seems to be popular in the high MMR bracket for pubs, but pro scene, unfortunately, not quite there yet. I don't see why, though, to be honest. I feel like, I guess the reason is he's not kind of like a Razor where you could just pick him and be like, all right, no matter what, Razor will be good. You know, Necrophos is pretty much like, all right, we kind of really want to get a death ball going and to push in. Like, it can go super late with a Necrophos, but obviously you've got usually better options to invest all that money in if you're trying to like go like 50 minutes or so. So, I mean, yeah, Tim can say Necrophos as well, BLM. For shame! You're still saying Windrunner, though, to be fair. So it's, you know, I'll scold you as much as I can. But, hey,
do that.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
It's a learning process.
Down tonight.
You know what? It's all right. At least you're not Jaren tonight. So
that's true. Looking up,
looking up every minute here. But I really like the hero too, and I think he's got a strong position in the death ball lineups. You know, throw him in with a Death Prophet or something. Put him in the safe lane. Put Death Prophet in the mid. That's a nasty push you're gonna throw at the enemy. And I don't know. I feel like there can be a lot of instances, and like you said, that buyback cooldown increasing. So with the way he got, I'm going to call it a buff, but his ultimate got changed, so now it's just a flat, was it 30 seconds, I believe, it gets added to the death timer instead of it scaling. I really like that a lot. I think it's a huge buff. Like I was talking with Bonk about at one point. If level 6 you get a kill with it on someone, they're dead forever. Like, you just won middle lane easily, like, because they're dead for essentially 2 levels or so of you gaining experience and gold. So it just seems absurdly well. And, of course, getting that ag so they even can't buy back when they want to. I mean, he can really put those carries and other important heroes away for a long time. And that really gives you that much better of an opportunity to just shove up into their base. So I think he's got a great presence.
Yeah, and you know, John even stopped by our Facebook and left a comment talking about, you know, it's like, hey, I think you guys sort of underestimated the Dagon on Necro. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I personally prefer not going Dagon on him, but you know, I totally get it. And even, you know, he mentions, you know, even if you're like kill stealing with it, or you know, tactically securing kills yes. Within a team fight environment, right? You're getting the regeneration back from Sadist. You're getting the health regeneration, the mana regeneration for killing that hero, and that's going to mean more death pulses to help sustain you in the fight, to help sustain a push after the fight. You know, I totally get it, and I feel like in the game that we saw with Alliance running it, you know, Necrophos didn't really feel like he was at the core of any death ball. He didn't really feel like much of a core hero in that game, or like, you know, the carry. It really was Loda doing a lot of the work. But you can say that the fact that Necrophos was picked wound up being, I feel like, instrumental in some of the fights in that game, just being able to drop, you know, multiple Reaper sides, even using the Dagon for the burst, not even necessarily to pair with the Reaper side. So I feel like, you know, we're spending a lot of this minute increase on the buyback just to talk about Necrophos, but
right.
I just love him, Jay. And the nice thing is he actually has a pretty decent win rate. It's like 60% right now, for something like under 30 games played, I believe. So, you know, it has been picked up some, but you know, I was gonna say I even really like the fact the change with the 30 seconds added the flat amount after killing a hero with Reaper Scythe is, even if you don't have super Death Ball lineups, if you just have him as sort of your only push component, if you kill somebody and they're dead 30 seconds longer at the early point in the game, you now just have that advantage for a long time to be able to try to kill a tier 1 tower. It's not like, okay, we killed somebody, so now we have 20 seconds to try to barrel down and kill this tower. It's, you know, we have to keep this up. We have to go. You sort of have a little bit more time to, you know, work with your heroes. It doesn't feel like he has to be in a pushy Death Ball lineup, in my opinion.
And also remember, when you buy back, that time that you took away is added to your next death timer. So now that extra 30 seconds that they bought back is added to that next death timer. And let's say Necro kills him again. I feel like that's got to stack. And I feel like that's the most painful thing I've thought of in a long time. Like, is that just 60 seconds essentially of extra time you gave to them after they die back? Like, it has to. It has to work that way. So, I don't know what the longest death timer I've seen on someone before.
There was
maybe
actually
120 or something.
There was a death timer that was so long that it didn't display in game, and it was beautiful.
Are
like
you
couldn't see under the hero portrait; it just didn't say a time, and they're like, "He's dead. Where is he?" And I was like, "Oh, I really wish I remember what the time was. I want to say it was like longer than 2 minutes."
It's undefined. God, I was trying to think of a math equation for undefined. It's like 1 over x or
1 over 0.
Damn it!
No,
you're a genius.
Dividing.
No, 1 over 0 is undefined.
Because 0 can't go into a number. Or it can infinitely. I don't know, one or the other.
Depth.
Anyway, art major. So, away from the math. So some stuff done to our buddy Skywrath Mage, who is the most picked hero so far in the patch. Mystic Flare damage now done over 0.2 second increased time. Ancient Seal cooldown increased by 3 seconds. You see the Crypt Swarm on Death Prophet having the damage rescaled, so it does a little bit less at the early levels. Exorcism cooldown increased.
Slow down. I want to talk about some of these things.
You're not allowed.
Slow down.
You can't talk. This isn't a talk show. You have to listen.
I need to talk about the 2 heroes you just said.
We do this so you can listen to me speak. It's to feed my narcissism, and for
no, that's what the camera's for. It's fine.
Okay.
You're beautiful.
Anyway, I was just gonna list the heroes that are super prevalent.
Fine, but people are gonna get lost. They're gonna get lost, Jim.
Stay with me, people. Chronosphere cooldown increase by 10 seconds. You wind up having Static Link, the cooldown, being increased from the flat 25 seconds to 32, scaling down to 26, so it all ranks a longer cooldown. And how about for funsies, we talk about the Primal Split, the cast time being increased, and also the delay after casting the spell, so the time you spend invulnerable, being reduced from 0.85 to 0.6. Go, children, be free. Talk about whatever you want, Jay. I feel like those are just like all of the major heroes from the previous patch that carried over. Oh, yeah, so Necrophos.
Back on important topics.
Major heroes from last patch that have still continued to be prevalent in this patch all saw some more nerfs.
They did.
Which do you want to talk about, buddy?
Well, I think we should start with the Death Prophet. The Exorcism originally, just recently, got 10 more seconds. It was bumped up, I believe, 125 to 135. Now bumped up again 10 seconds. So they just keep jacking Exorcism up to the point of you essentially almost like really want a refresh orb badly now on this hero because it's just so long of a cooldown. Going from 2 minutes to like 2.5 minutes is essentially really making a big deal. And once that ultimate's down, she is a non-threat essentially. I mean, she does some damage, but she's really not anything as scary, obviously, as when she has that Exorcism threat to go on. So I think that's a big deal. Also, the Crypt Swarm change really intrigues me because I wonder now if that's enough incentive to go back to maxing Crypt Swarm over the Witchcraft. Because obviously people were putting, I think it was like, was it
304?
304, right. Now that the 25 extra damage comes out, or I'm sorry, 25 less damage at the earlier ranks, at all 3 of the first ranks were reduced 25 damage. The last rank, though, is still 300. So it's almost like you want to race to that 4th point to get that maximum damage out of it. So I'm kind of curious now for the people to redo that math and say, is it still worth going 304, or should we go 403? Or 402?
Or 040.
Or all stats. I mean, these are all the questions.
All options. All probably reasonable. Yeah, that's actually really interesting, and I hadn't considered it. So good job, Jay.
Thank you.
You're on fire today. This is Jay's episode. You have won it. You've won all of it. Yeah, it's interesting, and I feel like that's gonna hurt her laning a little bit. I mean, the runes are also easier to come by, so you're maybe filling up your bottle more, filling it up a little bit more easily with the runes.
Yeah.
So it might not be a big deal that you have to go the 403, but that also means that your exorcism is going to be a little weaker until you hit the level where your witchcraft is maxed and you have the exorcism level 1, because I know a lot of people like to wait for that before they pop it in the first place. Yeah. So, I feel like it's pretty reasonable, and it's sort of pushing Death Prophet back into being, where the exorcism is, you're doing it for a tactical reason. You're doing it to take a tower, and then you have to sort of back off. You're doing it to take Roshan, then you're backing off. That's a pretty long time now to have exorcism down. So I'm fine with it, again, because this hero has seen quite a lot of success and quite a bit of popularity. Not to say that popularity means that you should now be nerfed into the ground, but the thing that I like about these changes in general is just that it is like all these popular heroes, they are very small for the most part. And I feel like something I was noticing about just the number of games played on different heroes this patch, really there are a lot of heroes that float at about the same number. You look at last patch and you see gaps of like 100 games played between sort of tiers of hero. And now for your top 50, I want to say, or top 25, you see a more even distribution. Now, Skywrath Mage is 100 games ahead of Brewmaster. And then Brewmaster and Centaur are 50 games ahead of Nature's Prophet for games being played this patch. So there are still like really huge gaps for heroes that are just going to be in every game, heroes that'll pop up every so often, and then heroes that I guess are really used for specific reasons. But I do really like the idea of trying to get rid of heroes that are just good in all situations all the time, just want to have them, because I feel like part of the great thing about Dota is it is about getting a group of niche heroes together to accomplish specific goals for a match.
Yeah, strategy. Yeah, I like that too. Not just, well, these 3 heroes are just strong this patch, so let's just pick them and then we'll fill in with whatever we got left. Like, yeah, I like Medusa, for example. Oh my god. She's everywhere. She's seriously everywhere. And VP, obviously, I think they got to be the biggest picker of her at all. With Illidan, just loving that hero. Although, to be fair, you'll never guess who I saw in the Chinese scene picking Medusa. You'll never guess.
Loda?
You're right, ZSMJ.
Yes!
The Loda of the China scene. No. Yeah, he's back in action with his Medusa picks, so it's been awesome. But, yeah, I mean, these heroes, some of them are really coming out and shining. Actually, Medusa not even touched in this little patch here, so maybe because it's kind of a new trend that's already started up. I mean, it can't be that old, to be honest, the Medusa trend. I feel like it's only been maybe a few weeks now or something. So it's like these heroes that just weren't somewhere are all of a sudden just like, hey, you know what? Let's just try this. And it just works. And I mean, Medusa's, let's be honest, we talked about her for a while in the past and how after that ultimate change, and just her other changes she's had over time, she's become a really amazing team fighter. Even from level 6, she can have an impact in team fights. Previously, not really. So now that she has some like kind of early to mid game presence, she's like useful. And she actually can do well in lane because of that Mystic Snake damage. If you can time your bounces correctly, you can actually do a ton of damage to that last target it hits, as well as getting the mana to restore and just keep fueling the fire for your attacks. So I think she's got, obviously, well, she's shown she has great potential, and I foresee her continuing as a trend until either some nerfs or someone figures out how to stop her.
Yeah, and the patch also seems pretty friendly towards. I mean, when you just look at Terrorblade and see the success he's had, you do have the time, the space, the ability to farm. And now that I feel like almost feels similar to Terrorblade to me, and just the sense that because of the mana shield, the low health isn't necessarily a huge issue, because you are going to be putting points at mana shield. It's blocking more damage now because of 6.82. So Na'Vi have actually been running her a lot. I want to say the second highest, if not the highest, user of the hero. So I'm actually really excited to see her, to be honest. I
think this patch all of a sudden was friendly to I Have Scotty users. Does that not seem accurate? I don't even know why. It just does. It just does.
Yeah.
I guess just that means high farmers, because I mean, anti-mage has obviously been getting picked up too, and like we talked about, I believe, last week, actually. And, so these late-game heroes, like we said, the death ball kind of got a hit to it. And now we don't see it. We see it, like EG is just, they're just going to do what they're going to do, but not every team is adapting that way. And some teams like to go for that end game, so they have that security. And, Medusa is just someone that's really hard to deal with in the very late game. She's going to pump out more damage to AoE damage than most people can, period, except for Venomance with Ogs, of course. So, it's just so hard late game to deal with it. Obviously, her weakness being the single target, she's not going to burst someone down. But she will not die for a very long time. And it's usually enough of a nuisance to either have another distraction or to just have your whole team whittled down by the time she does fall. So, it's really interesting to see. And I went on a big rant there, and she's not even mentioned in these patch notes because I guess it's just she's part of the new meta that just came about. But it's interesting that none of these changes really affect her at all.
Yeah, I mean, like I guess I was maybe sort of hinting at with saying that the playing field seems or the pick rates seem more even across the field, is I really do like that this patch sort of continues to go in the direction that the last one did and sort of opening up more doors for more heroes. And even though, again, you're always going to have your top tier picks and you're always going to have heroes that teams feel that they need to grab because they're just that strong. But, you do have heroes like Medusa that a couple teams will decide they really like and can make viable. And I think it's really exciting. I mean, the one thing that I also thought was really interesting about this patch is if you want to talk about the primal split change, I think the first game I watched after reading the patch notes, there was an instance where it was on Join Dota and Toby goes, yep, there's the nerf right there. Like, it was long enough of a cast time that he got stunned and killed. Mm-hmm. Wasn't able to pop the ultimate. It's a small thing, 0.25 seconds, it's not huge, but it's definitely something that can create an impact. It's definitely something where, you have these instant spells, that amount of time is like a reaction time, basically. You have that whole extra window to actually cast your spells instead of, just having to spend that time to react, I guess. So I really do like that change because that's a hero I feel like that just seems ridiculous or not worth picking, and I think he's been towards that ridiculous mark for a bit.
Well, he's been getting picked left and right. He's just essentially almost like a safe pick for teams at this point because he's got the early aggression, and his mid lane dominance is scary. Like, especially if you're a melee hero up against him, you really have no shot. He's going to crit you, he's going to dodge, and his thunderclap just seems to do tons of damage. So he is really just such a bully in that lane. I did find interesting, though, like you said, the primal split as well as the Song of the Siren cast point also getting increased by 0.15. I mean, they're essentially two of these heroes, which their ultimates are like they're everything, more or less, like a lot of their importance. Obviously, Naga's it's not as crucial to get off immediately as Brewmaster's. It can, depending on the situation. If you're in a survival mode, yeah, you need to get it off. But if you're initiating, maybe 0.15 doesn't matter as much, but still it's going to impact it. But my main concern for Brewmaster, obviously the typical way he's played is he blinks in, thunderclaps, and then ults, because he can have enough time to be that greedy to get that AoE damage and slow before he ults. Now I'm not so sure that every situation is going to allow for that, because if you go in thunderclap and try to ult, that extra 0.25 seconds, like you said, for a pro player, that might be the time he needed to react to the blink in to get that stun off. So, that extra, 300 damage or whatever he got from the thunderclap and the slow also very important to help with initiation. I feel like this could hurt him pretty dramatically. And obviously they shifted that time around, so it went, they reduced the time after while he was invulnerable down 0.25. So okay, overall it's the same amount of time. But yeah, that's still really crucial.
Yeah, I mean, it's less invulnerable time and more time to be vulnerable. At the end of the day. Times. So, you might remember, Jay, that when we had an episode when we were talking about Doom and how you could sort of make him more reasonable without breaking him, it's even just increasing the cast time on Doom would be great, because now you don't have the blink in, use your major ability, and then after that, it's sort of like whatever. Now you actually have to be like, oh, can I blink it on this person? Do they have a way to stop me from casting it? There is an opportunity to fight the ability, whereas before it was harder to do so. And I think that's the important thing to take away, because blink, clap, well, F. What do we do now? Nothing. You can, I guess, try to kill the panda if he's by himself. He's probably not. And now you just sort of have to run and deal with it. So the fact that it has to sort of be done more intelligently, and that there's more of a chance for good players to fight it, I actually really like.
I think some of these other ones are also pretty important. I mean, the one that's really not, but might as well worth mentioning, the Guardian Angel no longer providing health regen. Seems like really just a nerf to getting the Ogs and healing all your towers up. Obviously players benefited, but I mean, the health regen wasn't insane. It was nice, but it wasn't like insane. But I feel like being able to heal his towers was kind of a cool thing the Ags did. And now that it doesn't, I mean, is this just going to hurt him being picked even more?
I just find it weird.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it at all. I don't really know what the idea is behind it. I just don't know, Jay.
Maybe if they were so concerned with tower healing, they could have said the Ags does not provide healing for towers or something, but I don't know.
I guess, the idea is that you wind up becoming invulnerable to physical damage,
right.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess they still wanted you to be able to sort of counter it with magic damage and want you to be able to heal through it. All right. Sure. But, I mentioned before with Omni Knight, he's a hero that is either sort of, I guess, similar to Brew. He's feels OP or he feels useless, and there's really it's hard to find a middle ground for him just because of his kit. I almost feel like he's going to wind up having to get a rework or something before I like him personally. I don't think there's ever going to be a spot where I like the way he functions. But
while Diffusal Blade takes off Repel, I don't think he's going to have a great position in the scene. That's just my take on it personally, because I think his abilities, while super strong, and don't get me wrong, they are, but this is a flashback to the EG where they pick up the Omni Knight, the other team gets their Diffusal Blade, and guess what?
On Sand King,
and guess what? Shadowfeed now needs the BKB. So Omni Knight, I mean, yeah, helpful, but his main purpose was defeated because of the ability for the other team to go Diffusal Blade. So,
on Sand King.
Okay. Or any hero. But in that case, yes, Sand King. The autos with the manager are just too strong.
Well, I mean, just to say that, like, yeah, it's like a completely useless item on Sand King, except for the fact that it can beat Omni Knight's Purge. So instead, you get your Blink Dagger, you're like, well, what do I get? I'll just buy Diffusal Blade, because why not? It's not even like a core hero has to buy this item, and you go, oh man, this kind of sucks. If I want to fight Omni Knight, I guess I have to give up my Butterfly. No, you go, oh, Sand King will get it.
Can we have real talk?
No.
All right, here it comes. Well, no, we already had the real talk for the episode. Let's have this talk. So, all those heroes got all their unique attack modifiers removed.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Caustic Finale still a unique attack modifier? I don't get it. Why is that OP if he gets an attack modifier like a Desolator with Caustic Finale? I don't comprehend.
Are you plotting Desolator?
I just
need this to be a thing.
I was thinking about the Diffusal. I'm like, oh wait, if he has Caustic Finale, he's not mana burning. And I'm like, wait, that's stupid. Why is Caustic Finale still a modifier? And I feel like if they're gonna move from Clinks and Huskar and other heroes, like the least they could do is let poor Sand King use his Caustic Finale without worrying about it. Seems dumb. Guess you get no points in Caustic Finale if you want his attack modifier. The pitch got real. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, that was just my side. I'm just a little upset.
Deep down inside, you're a little raw about it. That's understandable. That's just a weird hero. And I honestly, like I said, I wouldn't hate it if he was reworked, removed from Captain's mode, and was made. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and was made completely not completely different, but
I love Purification. I think that's an awesome idea. the heal going for damage too. Like, I like that idea. It kind of like you bait people into it and then you do the damage. It's cool.
Like, what if Repel like reduced the effects of? Because that's the other thing too. And even to go back to the game we're talking about, from ESL, the finals, you know, you get Repel, and then you go, oh, well, I don't need a BKB. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, there's a Diffusal Blade. I need a BKB reals bad. All of a sudden, it's a completely different thing, and you don't have even the perception. I mean, you might see the build-up for the item, but you don't have to. I mean, none of the stats make sense on Sand King, right? So it's not like you're going to see a double Blade of Alacrity Sand King running around and you go, oh, guys, I'm going to have to start building this BKB. You just go, oh, he kept all the components on the courier the whole time, and now I need a BKB. So I have hopefully been starting to farm it this whole time. Have hopefully been buying an item that makes a spell on my team obsolete on me. You know what I mean? So if it's something like, oh, reduces by half, then you go, well, all right. Then there's still a reason that you might want to get a BKB. And then you might be like, well, is it really worth me buying a Diffusal Blade on a Sand King? You know, that's what I'm saying. I feel like something has to be adjusted, and clearly Oghanims didn't help, right? I don't even understand what you were supposed to do with that Aghanim Scepter in the first place. Now I feel like I'm on an Omni Knight rant.
No, he does it. I literally think you... Well, obviously Global Presence is nice because the AoE for his ultimate wasn't very large. So you really had to be near your teammates to get the best benefit. Without it, having that global range allows you to kind of be towards the back, healing up and repelling people, but not dying on the front lines. Because obviously, for most people that play against Omni Knight, you know the strat is pick off Omni Knight before we push the base, because if we don't, we're not going to win the fight. But now he doesn't, you know, with the Aghanims, he can just chill all the way in the back, get the heals off, the repels off, and the ultimate off. But I really thought the cool thing, one of the other cool things about it was just being able to heal up buildings. He was one of now, that's a unique club that gets to affect buildings, and he lost his privileges. I guess he didn't pay his dues. I don't know what happened, but he was kicked out immediately. So, yeah, a bit of a shame.
Exactly. Like, that was the thing. It almost felt like, oh, this is... Like, that's part of the uniqueness of it, and now that that's gone... I mean, it is still, like, okay, you have a second glyph, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Fine, but like the fact that you're going to be getting an Aghanims, unlikely, you know, even that in the first place. So, yeah, I say rework Volvo. Get to it, get on it.
We didn't talk much about Terrorblade. We need to.
Okay.
Because these are nerfs and they're devastating. Devastating. He's still going to get used, but devastating. So the Metamorphosis move speed reduced from 350 to 290, so losing, the 25... Oh, make sure I did the math. 25 move speed in his ranged form. Rather impactful right off the bat, honestly. I mean, he's obviously a hero who... I mean, he has a slow, but he has to be close to use it. And when he's in Metamorphosis, he's not going to be using a lot of these... I think it's Reflection. Is that the name of the ability? I've only played him just once, unfortunately, because I am not a Terrorblade picker. I make fun of them, but that's fine. Yeah, but going down 25 move speed, I mean, right off the bat, I mean, that seems pretty bad, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's a hero. I feel like it's... Okay. He can get kited pretty easily, and that's a thing that's sort of always been a problem of his. Now, that being said, if I remember correctly, because I can't find the line in the patch notes off the top of my head that says it, the Sunder cast range being increased is like a little bit better, so it's a little bit easier for him to find a Sunder target and deal with being kited, but I feel like this doesn't stop you walk up to somebody, reflect them, and then Metamorphosis and blow them up in the beginning of the game. You know, you still are going to be able to do that. But I guess at the same time, it's like it's gonna stop him from, I don't know, just being able to keep on everybody the entirety of the fight. I mean, he gets a really nice range out of that form. So I'm fine with it. You know, movement speed is, I feel like, a really huge stat to buff or nerf, and 25 is a huge number. Yeah, I mean, I think it just highlights his susceptibility to being kited, and that's still going to be a great way to try to deal with the hero, despite the Sunder cast range increase.
No, exactly.
And the fact that Sunder no longer interrupts the target, which is huge, and I feel like completely fine.
I mean, yeah, he obviously blew up on the scene.
I'm assuming you didn't hear what I said, and you decided to choose something else to talk about.
I did.
In its place. Sunder no longer interrupts the target. I feel like kind of big, but...
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the odds of... I mean, I feel like you didn't see that too often, to be honest. Maybe late game when it's on such a short cooldown. I mean, it's definitely nice to take that out, in my opinion. I agree, because it gave him something extra that a lot of heroes actually, I feel like, don't have an interrupt per se. So giving it to a carry can make a big deal. Like anti-mage having it seems okay, but other heroes not necessarily. So I feel like, yeah, he's plenty strong without having that interruption. The 75 cast range is nice, but it's really not. I feel like it's not much more difficult for him to get that range if he needs it. Basically the way you get him killed is just pure lockdown or pure burst in that time period, or getting him when he has that on cooldown. Well, those are pretty much the three situations. Otherwise, he's got 2 lives like a Weaver, except pumping out way more damage than a Weaver can. So, yeah, I think these were pretty rough, and I think the most harsh one on him. I'm trying to think of how to word it.
Go on.
The most harsh one on him was the Conjure Image nerf. So it says in the patch note, Conjure Image damage intake increased from 300 to 425%. Now, when we talked about this hero previously, I said he was taking 200% on his illusions. I gained that from the Dota library. So if it's saying going from 3 to 425, must mean it was a bug or it was incorrect in the wording, because I got that from a pretty official source. So
pretty
official, like 99% official, I'm pretty sure. But either way, even if it's just, let's even take that out of the equation, even if it's 300 to 425 like it's saying it is, his illusions were pretty tanky before, and now 425 is a lot easier to manage. An extra 100% damage to at least to take on makes it a lot easier to deal with his split pushes that he's obviously really effective at doing with those illusions, as well as them farming the jungle and doing their illusion-y thing. So I think that might be the toughest thing that's going to be on him. But like I said, none of these scream like, oh, he's out of the game to me, because he's still going to be effective at what he does, which is ramp up and farm after he gets his some of his core items. And then just the damage output and tower push potential is so extreme on this hero. And like I said, he still has that second life with Sunder. And in fact, that part of him got buffed, essentially, because now he has an easier time getting off the Sunder in a fight. So I don't know. I think that he's definitely going to be seen a lot more, but maybe there's some more answers to him from the other team.
I like to start at the beginning to inject my notes into your monologue. I like the Sunder no longer interrupting a target because I feel like that doesn't make sense with the ability. Like, that's not what it's for. You figure, okay, Mana Void on Anti-Mage. You have your Anti-Mage, he's going to be like, let's say somebody's teleporting away. Anti-Mage is whacking on him. He's going to be burning that mana, and then he's going to Mana Void, stop you from TPing away.
It's a finisher. It's like execute.
Fine. Yeah, exactly. Sunder is just sort of weird. It's just like, you switch health and good luck.
And then you Dagon. Right.
So I feel like you're saying, how many times you're using it to interrupt things, but it just doesn't, I think, feel right. And I feel like a lot of just 8-2 in general is about, like, how do things feel? How do they seem to make sense? And I like that change. The illusion thing, I think, is huge. And even to go back to you saying that the numbers are weird, if you go to Dota 2 Wiki, it says 325% is the damage they take.
No one agrees.
So there's clearly some disparity in, the idea of what the illusions actually take as far as damage. But yeah, I think it's a lot like the Phantom Lancer thing and the rework. You have a hero I guess you're always going to want a hero that's really good at being able to farm and split push simultaneously, just because that's a role to fill, like a niche to fill. But yeah, I guess it's now going to take him longer to be able to do that. He's going to need more defensive items or more health in order to be able to propagate to those illusions to help them, kill the jungle camps, or to be able to just sit in a lane with a Radiance burn. So I like that the hero is still able to function in that what has always felt really wrong Phantom Lancery sort of way, but it's not stupid. It's not like you're gonna have the illusions tanking a bajillion damage. They are going to be susceptible, and it's going to take longer for this hero to sort of get to a point where he's just able to have illusions that are all over the map and difficult to deal with. And I think that's totally fine, because you don't want him to be able to just have illusions everywhere, and supports can't do anything about it. You need core heroes to try to cope.
Yeah.
What do you think about some of these? I guess there's the only other hero on here that, well, two heroes, I guess, would be the Razor as well as the...
Careful, there's a storm a brewing.
It is. It's a little scary out. Halloween strikes early, apparently. Chronosphere cooldown increased by 10 seconds, as well as Static Link. That cooldown is crazy.
Love those nerfs. Yeah. And they're not major. They're just good nerfs, in my opinion.
Static Link feels pretty major.
No, not to me. I mean, all right, yeah, so to refresh people's memories, 25 static, or flat, you could say, to 32, 30, 28, 26. So even if it's last rank, it's still a 1 second higher than its previous consistent cooldown. Adding 7 seconds, yeah, I mean, it does feel like obviously impactful, but at the same time, he's got other tools to kind of push his lane and pressure his lane, I feel like. He's also really fast, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of times you see it maxed out in certain matchups anyways. So it'll hurt maybe his first 7 to 10 minutes of the game, in my opinion, and then after that it's kind of a moot point. So maybe that's the whole point, is to help people against him really early in the game. But if you really need help against him early in the game, you just roam supports, in my opinion, and that's how you deal with him. So I don't feel like it's a major. I feel like it's a good nerf. Like I said, I think it's a good nerf, but I don't think it's major.
Yeah, I think this is, again, one that feels a lot like a feel nerf, as well as because he's a super prevalent hero. But the fact that you could just link somebody and then run at them for a while, and then they have to run away because you know, and then, okay, finally, Static Link's off. Now I can go back and try to last it on this creep wave. Oh, no, I can't. Sorry. My bad.
I do negative damage. I heal them when I attack them.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought I could go back to last hit now. You sort of have to earn your lane dominance with Razor a little bit more. Not a ton more, because it's not, game-breaking difference in time. I still think it's big, but you just sort of have to be able to not only link the damage out of somebody to push them out of the lane, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to be able to bully them around, or try to put out pressure when you don't have link available, and that's something that previously Razor hasn't had to deal with.
Razor dies easy to ganks, in my opinion, early. You roam some good heroes, Earthshaker, someone else.
Unless he's maxing his feedback. What's it called?
And then he's a bad hero.
I forget what he's
You
called.
only go more than 1 point that early if you are playing against DoD. There's no other matchup you would ever do that in.
Or you're going for movement speed build.
Unstable current is what you're looking for. But feedback, that's like a StarCraft move.
And so it is.
Which is, I'm glad. I don't know how I remembered that, but hey,
I don't either.
More power to me, I guess. Power overwhelming.
There's only one other thing that I kind of wanted to bring up, and that's just that I think that the Warlock one is interesting, because Warlock was a hero that we saw being popular right before the patch, and then patch hits, and he's gone. And he's gone. And his win rate is abysmal.
Oh, yeah.
And the nice little change, it probably doesn't net increase his damage or anything, because Flaming Fists, which is the damage done by his Infernals, Has been changed from magical damage to pure damage. So it pierces through spell immunity, so you can Falco Punch people with BKBs on. I'm on board with. The damage was reduced, though, to sort of, I guess, cope with the fact that you're not blocking any of it. I really like this because I think Warlock should be a thing. And I think that's totally reasonable, too. I mean, if you're blocking the spell immunity on that, then really what is your Warlock contributing against heroes that have their BKBs on other than nothing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's used for the stun on magic immune targets as well, which is nice, but it's their damage output is highly dependent on Flaming Fists, in my opinion, because that 40% chance to get that AoE proc for now 150 at the last rank was so crucial. I mean, I believe the normal attacks, let's see, I feel like I have it pulled up here. They do damage a clock. Okay. It's fine. So they do damage, but what's more important, oh, here it is. So they do 75 up to 125 damage, which is still nothing to scoff at. But then, yeah, add another 150 onto that, 40% chance, 40% of the time, AoE. Yeah, it's pretty big. So obviously, late game, a lot of players are getting those BKBs, and now your golems, and multiple, I say golems, because a lot of times these warlocks will get that Aghanim Scepter going, are going to really be pumping out a ton of damage, as well as clearing, creep waves doing their thing. So I thought these changes weren't huge, but they were definitely friendly for the hero. So it's a shame that he's not basking in it or anything at this point. Do you know? Probably not, but do you know?
Wow.
Do you know if it's mostly support warlocks right now?
Yes, I do.
Oh, good.
So, there. Jeez.
Is it?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the strong maybe. Since you're calling me out on it. The answer.
Fox News is reporting yes right now, so it's
most
fun.
Definitely yes.
Okay, because I'm curious. I mean, the core warlock was kind of a thing of the past, I feel like, anyways. So,
and you don't need the Midas and stuff. I mean, and with the changes we were seeing to upheaval being prioritized, you're going and investing points into that spell, and then it can be BKB'd off. Really the only thing that was going through the BKB, like you said, was the initial part of the Chaotic Offering. Everything else by that hero is completely blocked by spell immunity, so that's a nice little way to sort of give him a little bit back. It's a sizable amount of damage, but it's only when after he's used his ultimate. It's not like that's something that is always going to be available to him, so I think it's totally reasonable.
Still super weak to Diffusal Blades. Everything is weak to Diffusal Blades, but... Well, I say super weak, I mean insta-gibbed. But what can you do? Warlock and Omni-Knight crying in a corner, but that's fine. The Spectre changes, nerfs were a little rude, but nothing game-breaking. 10% less damage on his Haunt Illusions. Okay, he's not going to do insane amount of damage, just a lot of damage. And then 5 less move speed. He gets the speed buff from the dagger anyways, so he's fine. And usually you'll see Manta on him, so he'll get move speed from the Yasha anyways. So, and that's actually kind of goes for Terrorblade too. He goes Manta every game as well. So, while losing this move speed, he was so fast before. So, I don't feel bad for him that early game he's going to suffer, but late game he'll still be keeping up with everyone else. Like, I don't feel bad for him at all.
Yeah. I think that is absolutely true. I think that just about wraps up 106. Good old 106.
I just wanted to briefly say, I know it's a struggle to keep you around here, but I have to say, I played Timbersaw recently.
Oh, Jesus.
I was inspired by the good old Ice 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 to give this hero a try again after I had not played him. Well, first of all, I hadn't played him. I actually wonder if I can see the last time I played him before 4 days ago, because that would be interesting for me to figure out. But aside from that, I hadn't played him, of course, with the Aghanim Scepter change, which obviously the 2 chakrams is just phenomenal. I went 15, 5, and 15. But if you watch that replay, which I don't think I want to give out the Dota buff info to, because I don't want people to actually watch it. Mm-hmm. You know what? Here we go. Listen to me carefully, everyone.
Oh, my lord.
964-818-807.
8675309.
Anyways, please don't watch that replay because you will see probably the rustiest Timbersol of your life.
So why did you give it out exactly? What are we supposed to
learn?
The
whole point of this is I want to tell people, look, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Okay? You may be intimidated. You may fear that you don't have what it takes. But if you look into your heart of hearts and you give it your best, sometimes it pays off. I just wanted to say actually how fun it was. That was really my whole point. I love the new Aghanim's Chakram thing. It's just like he already had so much damage output before, but now that he has 2 Chakrams with all that true damage, it's just so much true damage. Put that with anyone with some kind of lockdown, and you pretty much killed everyone. It's incredible. I'm trying to remember. I feel like I just had the match open. I don't know why I couldn't just look again. I was trying to figure out. I had someone on our team. Oh, we had an Enigma. With Black Hole. So
they
Black
tend to skill
Hole
that ability.
plus Chakra. Sometimes. Apparently you don't max it, though. We talked about that. But just the one point. But yeah, the Black Hole with the 2 Chakrams in there, apparently pretty devastating against every single hero in the game. So I just wanted to say how fun it was. And I want to charge everyone to give this hero a try if they haven't yet. With the new Aghanim's buff, because it is phenomenal.
Yeah, I may never play a game of Timber. I did play a game of Timbersaw, and everyone else on my team regretted it. It's one of those things, like me playing mid. It's not because I don't want to play mid. It's because I just don't want to subject other people to it. Mm-hmm. And
but you can't be afraid. That's what friends are for. They forgive you, mostly, sometimes. Usually, not the same night. Maybe in a week. I'll forgive you, but not the same night. Yeah. I don't know. I just wanted to say that was a lot of fun. So go out there and try what you guys want to try. That's what I'm saying. Do it.
Yeah, and I won't. But to all of your benefit, so it's okay. Yeah, guys, go ahead, drop by DotaOnDemand.com, and you can go ahead and vote on the question of the week. If you still kind of want to talk about ESL and who you thought was the MVP but can't respond to the question because it's not there anymore on the website, you can always come by facebook.com/DotaOnDemand and just leave a comment. Tell us what you think. And just like Johnny Boy, who had his comment read, you guys can have your moment of glory and get in on the conversation. Of course, you can also check us out live at twitch.tv/DotaOnDemand. And yeah, we will see you guys next week. Go out there, watch some Dota, play some Dota.